Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Kat, and today we're going to be talking about all the books I want to read in April. So this is definitely going up a bit later in the month than I had anticipated. Basically just no time to film, and then I honestly have no idea when I'm going to edit this, but whenever you're seeing it, here you go. So this month is really exciting because I'm participating in two incredibly exciting readathons that I've always wanted to participate in but just could never get myself organized enough to do it. So those are Magical Readathon and realmathon, and I'll be telling you guys more details about it as well as what I'm planning on reading. And then I have a few other books I want to do for like continuations of series, but this is going to be a crazy busy reading month and I cannot be more excited about it. So first let's talk about Magical Readathon. So this is hosted by the lovely G over at Book Roast, and it's essentially a seasonal readathon based off of a magical school. And I'll link her information down below if you wanted to take a look at it, but this is one readathon that I have been so excited to join for so long, and I've always been weirdly intimidated to get started, but I am so happy that it's finally happening. So through this, you essentially choose a career path for yourself, and then you have a list of classes that you need to complete, or essentially like prompts associated to these classes. So I decided that the career I'm going to go with is Dreamwalker. And for this one, I have 7 books that I need to read for it, plus there are various side quests throughout the month that you might have to complete as well. So I'm also going to be doing probably a month-long vlog, just reading all of these books. It might be 1 or 2 parts, we'll see, but I'm really excited, really excited to be participating in this, and like I can't wait to dive into all of these books as well. So 7 courses, 7 prompts. The first course is astronomy, and you have to have a book with 2-letter E's in the title. So for this one, I'm going to do The 3-Body Problem by Cixin Liu. I hear so many people talk about this as like a really thought-provoking, creative, really like imaginative sci-fi series, and like I could not be more excited to actually get to this one. The only thing that kind of makes me concerned is that I hear the writing is, or the translation of the writing might not necessarily be the best. It's very, I'd say almost clinical from what I hear. Like it's very much, it feels like an engineer is writing it, which I think it is, but I can't wait for this one. I've had this on my TBR for so long now, and it's been like, I've been just looking for an excuse to actually get to it. So this will be book number 1. The next course that I have to do is alchemy. So it's a book with a metal name in the title. So for that one, I'm reading A Taste of Gold and Iron. So I'm reading A Taste of Gold and Iron. So this is a male bodyguard romance in a fantasy setting. Huge chonker of a book. I don't know too much else about it. Don't really care. Can't wait for it. So course number 3 is The Art of Illusion. Pick a book where the cover matches the clothing that you'll be wearing while you read it. So basically I went in with knowing that like 90% of my wardrobe is just black t-shirts, and my all-time favorite shirt is a black and red Star Wars shirt that I wear constantly. I decided to go with Red Rising by Pierce Brown. I've read this before, really loved it, but I haven't gotten past, I believe, the original trilogy, so I really want to finish this and then continue on with the rest of the books before book 6 comes out this year. So this is one that I am ridiculously excited to get to. The next prompt is Spells and Incantations. So this is specifically a book that is between 389 and 415 pages, which, let me tell you, this was so hard to find. Weirdly was so much harder than I thought to just find one of these off my TBR, but I did find The Love Match. I know almost nothing about this one. It is an ARC I received and then never really looked into it any further. Essentially all I know is that it's a romance between Bangladeshi people, and that's all. So we'll see how this is, because I've heard absolutely nothing about it and I'm curious for sure. Oh god, I'm gonna butcher this name. So Psionics and Divination. It specifically wanted a book that either had a cloud on the cover or a cloud in the title, and the only one I could find on my shelf was Hyperion by Dan Simmons. See, there's some clouds back here. I don't know if this is going to be any good. I tend to really shy away from older sci-fi books because, I don't know, I find the writing to be very dense in a lot of them. And it's like the main reason I haven't picked up Dune, even though I've wanted to read it for years, is that I find so many of them harder to get through. But I'm really hoping that this will be like the exception to the case. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know what this is about. I'm gonna have to look into it before I pick it up. But I don't really feel like doing that research right now, but I'm really hoping that'll like this, because I've seen a lot of people who have similar reading tastes to me not particularly enjoy it, which kind of makes me concerned, but I am very curious at least. Then next one for Conjuration, it is specifically recommended by a friend. So I asked one of my friends who has pretty similar reading tastes to me, and she came back with 2 books. I'm not sure which one I'm going to read yet. It pretty much just depends on my mood, and there's a good chance I'm going to get to both of them. So the first one is Elvish. I believe this is a fantasy romance, and I'm going to assume it's with elves. Safe assumption. And the other one, I don't have the name of it. I'll have to pop it up here, but it is Tom Felton's new autobiography, and just being a huge Harry Potter fan, having grown up on all of them, I do really want to read that, and I'm really curious to see what he has to say in it. So no idea which one I'm going to pick. That will very much just be dependent on how I feel at the moment, I guess. And then the last book for Magical Readathon that I am planning on reading is, so it's for the course of lore, and the prompt is a book with a map in the title. And for this one, I'm going City of Dusk by Tara Sim. This is something to do with a world where gods have withdrawn their favor, and there's supposed to be like this huge intense mythology, and I hear a lot of people say this is incredibly complicated. So I'm a little concerned. I'm a little, when I see this huge pile of stack that I'm already getting going, and I haven't even gotten into all of the other books I want to do, this is making me a little concerned. So we'll see. We'll see how this one goes. Yeah, so it's like the gods have withdrawn their favor from what was once like this really vibrant and like really like wonderful city, and now everything around it is just starting to wilt. So those are the 7 books I'm planning for Magical Readathon. Expect a vlog for this. I'm really excited to get to do that. And again, I'll have the information linked below if you're interested in joining this readathon as well. And the second readathon that I'm going to be doing this year is Realmathon by Cassidy from Covers with Cassidy. Again, I'll have the video linked below. But this one, essentially, you're divided into 4 teams based on the genre of book that you're reading, and you're competing against each other to either amass more points or take points away from other people. So I decided to join Team Enya, which is fantasy books, because clearly I was not reading enough this month already, and I've specifically picked out 4 books that I want to read entirely for this. I'm assuming a lot of the other books that I'm reading are going to fit in within for these prompts, and I'll be able to count them towards it as well. But I do have 4 that are like specifically planned for this readathon. Also, every book that you read, you can claim up to 5 prompts for it if it falls within this thing. So I've picked a few random prompts, and I'm sure I'll be able to get more that match within it, but I just like picked a few that very specifically I know match a few things. Let's go over my 2 attack books first. So this is to take points away from other teams. So first one is Monster on the Cover, and I decided to go with Empire the Vampire by J. Kristoff. It's just up on my shelf. I didn't really feel like grabbing it down, but this is like a super dark fantasy world where I'm not sure, I think there's like 1 vampire left, and we're just learning his life story. That one is another huge book that I'm terrified to get to, but I really want to, because everything I hear makes it sound exactly like something I'm gonna love. And the other attack book that I'll be doing is a book that I didn't buy. So for that one, I have Spellbreaker, which is one that my boyfriend got for me for Christmas this year. So in this one, I believe we're following a young woman who's born with magical abilities to like break any spells that are cast, and we're following someone who's an unlicensed magic user and just trying to get by in the world. And then when a magician catches her breaking a spell, he basically enlists her services to come work for him. I am very excited for this one also. And then I'm going to be doing 2 defense books as well, which I think add to your team's amount of points. Well, my camera overheated, and I definitely missed a few of these files probably got messed up, and I have no idea where I last was. I believe I was talking about my other defense book, which is one with a weather-related word in the title, which I'm going to go with Winds of Fate by Mercedes Lackey. So this takes place in her wildly expansive Valdemar series, which is this like huge 50+ like interconnected world, which is just like this world with all these magical creatures, magic, all of such. And I originally was planning on reading all of these in chronological order, but basically decided that I don't want to invest that much time into a series that I don't necessarily know if I'm going to enjoy or not yet. So instead, I'm just going to read the ones that I already physically own. So right here I have Winds of Fate, and if I enjoy this one, I also have the next 2 books in this series that I can get to shortly as well. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing specific vlogs for realmathon, but let me know below if you'd be interested in that. There's a very good chance I'll just do it anyways because I don't know, I like vlogging. And so if that wasn't enough books to read, I have 4 others that are continuations of series that I want to get to as well. So first off, I have The Great Hunt by Robert Jordan, book 2 in the Wheel of Time series. My brother and I are currently doing a reread of The Wheel of Time, and so last month we read Eye of the World, and now obviously this month is The Great Hunt, and we're basically aiming to do 1 book a month, and I'm really excited. This is probably like my 4th or 5th time reading through the series, but for some reason I've never actually finished the last book, so I'm excited, and I'm going to force myself this time to actually read the last book because I don't know, I don't like finishing off series, but I will do that. Yeah, so it was super fun to read the first one again because every time I read it, I find there's always like something new that I discover or like some detail that I completely missed or that's like a bit of foreshadowing or something. So it's always something incredibly exciting for me to do. And then the next book that I'll be doing is Before They Are Hanged by Joe Abercrombie. So I recently started reading the first Law series, and I read The Blade itself last month. So this is part of Becca and the Books, her catch-up-a-thon, I forget what it's called, but it's like a catch-up readathon. So right now this year they're doing all of Joe Abercrombie's books. I'll link her video down below where she talks about this one, but I decided to join in and follow along with it because, you know, I've never really gotten into the grim dark subgenre and I've always been curious. And first book I absolutely loved. It was a 5-star read for me and I was beyond shocked about it because I genuinely didn't think it would be something I enjoyed. I thought it was like, going into it, I really thought it would be too dark and something that I would hate, but I absolutely loved it. It was like, I don't know, it felt like getting back to some of my fantasy roots for some of the books that I really enjoyed. Like, it gave like Game of Thrones vibes in a lot of senses, and it just made me so excited to keep going down the series. So I'll probably be doing 1 book a month in this world also, and really can't wait for it. Okay, we are so close to done now. So the next one I'm gonna do is Dawn Shard by Brandon Sanderson. Thankfully this one is considerably shorter because it's just a novella. So this is essentially the book that's recommended to read between Oathbringer and Rhythm of War. So I finished reading Oathbringer last month. Loved it. It was, I would say, my least favorite so far of the Stormlight Archives books just because, I don't know, I find Dalinar to be a bit more of a boring character. So it was definitely my least favorite within the Stormlight books, but still very excited to continue the series. I'm not sure exactly who this follows, but I know it's one of the characters within the world, and it's highly recommended that you read this before Rhythm of War. So again, I'm going to try to read that this month, and then the plan is in May to get to Rhythm of War. And the absolute final book is also, it's on the shelf, I didn't feel like grabbing it, but Caliban's War by James S.A. Corey. So this is book 2 in the Expanse series, which is like a really interesting immersive sci-fi world which takes place between like this war between Earth and the outer planets and outer satellites, and I'm really intrigued to keep going. I read book 1 a few months ago, absolutely loved it, and I really want to keep going. I have first 3 books on my shelf. I want to get to them. I want to continue this series and maybe get through it this year as well. So there you have it. Those are all the books I'm planning on reading this month. I'm not going to count them because quite frankly I don't want to, and I don't want to scare myself with how much I have to read, but I'm really excited for all of these. I'm really excited to be participating in Magical Readathon and Realmathon, and I just can't wait to get all of these. So comment below what you guys are planning on reading this month and what you're most excited for, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.